Welcome back, everybody. I'm your host, Kevin, and we're discussing my life with Tourette. You know, driving with Tourette's has got to be like one of the biggest struggles for me. Yeah, normal people driving, it can be hard, like in a stressful way or road rage or whatever. But imagine being in my shoes. You're driving and you're twitching. But I don't just twitch while I drive. I'm coughing. I'm letting out so much air. I'm getting lightheaded. I'm coughing to the point where I'm throwing up in the driver's seat. That for me, I find is one of my biggest struggles. Twitching at home or the minor tics I let out at work. Yeah, that's one thing. But you put me behind the wheel of a car, for some reason, like my tics act up more than ever. And not only that, when I talk on the phone while I'm driving, like they flare up even more so than per se just driving. And I wish I knew why. My doctors told me it's like a subconscious thing, like the way, because I've asked him a few times, and like the way he described it was, it's like without me really knowing what's going on, I'm stressing out about driving to the point where I'm twitching, ticking, they're flaring up bad. He said to him, it would be like subconsciously I'm stressing out about an incident, an accident happening, or, something severe happening. And anybody with Tourette's knows like stress is one of the key factors in your tics acting up. You know, it's it's something I wish I can control, but I feel when I'm driving, like I can't control it as much as normally. Normally I can keep it kind of mild. Normally I can find a way to, minimize them to where, like I've always said, like to where you can't even tell I have Tourette's. Like right now on the video, most people don't even know I have Tourette's just watching this video. But you get in a car with me and like you're gonna see him full fledged. I'm twitching and I'm like by twitching I mean I'm coughing, I'm clearing my throat to the point where I'm getting lightheaded, to the point where I'm throwing up. I mean, how many times I've thrown up on myself while driving. And I don't mean to say this in like a disgusting way, but I'm just being 100% honest. Like, that's really how it is. And like, I remember in one instance, I was going to a doctor's appointment, and he's about 45 minutes away from where I live. And I got about halfway there, and I had to turn around because I had gotten so lightheaded. I gagged so hard to where I threw up and I couldn't make it to the doctor appointment. And I called him and I told him, that's when COVID was happening and you could do the virtual visits. And I pretty much told him, I'm like, look, I can't make it because I done thrown up on myself. I done gagged myself by coughing so hard, so aggressive, and so long that I couldn't control it no more. And the woman at the desk was like, "Okay, well, let me get in touch with the doctor and we'll try to set you up a virtual appointment. And it's like in situations like that, you almost, like for me, I feel so embarrassed because it's not something I want to do. It's not something, it's, if anything, I'm more ashamed of it because I'm 37 years old. You would think at 37 years old, you wouldn't be throwing up on yourself. And even worse so, there's other things that happen that kind of more disgusting to where I'm not going to discuss, but it's at a point where I don't even want to drive. When I was almost disabled because of how bad they got, which I've talked about before, it was like driving, I didn't even want to do no more. And still till this day, I would rather sit in the passenger seat than behind the wheel. But at the same time, what's crazy to me is even sitting in the passenger seat, I still twitch. Now, it's not nearly as bad as, per se, when I'm behind the wheel, but they're still pretty severe. The tics still flare up pretty severely. And, I mean, 37 years old, you would think you'd overcome that to the point where you can control that as well. I can control my tics for almost the most part altogether out and about, whatever I'm doing. And I wish I knew, but for some reason you put me behind the wheel of a car and I'm moving around. I'm sitting up out my seat, adjusting myself. It's like I feel my my underwear and my pants are cutting off circulation to my legs. So I gotta sit up kind of out the seat, readjust my pants. You know, um, it's kind of not funny, but my fiance always like makes remarks about it. Is like I cough so hard, I'm spitting up saliva all over my steering wheel, to where I got little splats of saliva all over my steering wheel. And I don't mean to say this in like a disgusting way, but I just want people out there to know, especially the people with Tourette's or the people that know somebody with Tourette's that knows how severe it can get, like how severe it is for me behind the wheel of a car. It's something I wish I can control, but unlike every other situation, I really don't care who's in the car. And I say I really don't care. My Tourette's really don't care who's in the car with me. They're gonna act up. I've had times where I've tried to control it and I can't. I wish I knew how. I wish there was a way I could, but for some reason it's uncontrollable in a car. And I often wonder, like, if my doctor's right, like, maybe I am not able to control it because of the subconscious thing. And the subconscious thing is like constantly running through my mind. And at the same time, it kind of sucks because it's like, I wish I knew exactly what the subconscious thing was. Because then at the end of the day, I could know when it's coming on and I can control it like I do in my every day to day, tasks of life. And, it's not a comfortable feeling. It's not a comfortable thing to have to go through. I wish there was ways I could overcome it. I wish there was ways I could, stop them. Because, like, let's face it, who wants to sit here and throw up on themselves while they're driving or cough so hard and so aggressive to where you're getting lightheaded? I was talking with a friend a couple days ago, and they were telling me, we went to a Christmas thing at a park around where I live, and it had gotten to the point where I was coughing so hard, so aggressive, hardly being able to control the car to where they had to grab the wheel and hold it and pretty much drive for me while I was ticking because, like, I literally couldn't control the steering wheel. And you would think, like, in a situation like that, like, you would think, okay, I really need to focus in so I can drive this car so I can get us from point A to point B. But unfortunately, my Tourette thinks differently, I guess you would say. My Tourettes have a mind of its own where they're gonna do what they do, and I'm not controlling them. Like, they've taken over me. And I know there's some people out there that are listening, or people out there that know other people that are listening that have this kind of thing, because on some of these Facebook groups I've seen comments in them where people are asking, hey, do your Tourette's act up when you drive? So, like, in that instance, it's like, okay, other people out there are experiencing what I'm experiencing. But at the same time, it's like, I really, at the end of the day, I really wish I could control my tics behind the wheel of a car, especially when I'm talking on the phone through my car while driving, like I can in my everyday life, whether it's at work, whether it's in public at, let's say, a store or a gas station or whatever. Because who wants to be sit there, like, I'm like readjusting myself like this, or, I'm twitching my head or coughing, like all these things I do while I drive. I mean, who at the end of the day wants to do that? I mean, definitely not me, but unfortunately, having Tourette's, you can't, I can't fully control all situations that happen with the Tourette. I can't fully control all the certain situations that come with it. Yeah, I can control it for the most part, most of the time, but sometimes, and mainly when I'm driving, they've taken over me. And it really sucks because it's almost like I'm in the situation of my Tourette's is won. And I don't like that. I always want to win over my Tourette's. But at the same time, not being able to win over my Tourette's, I learned from it. I learned from the experiences of those times where the Tourette's wins. And learning from that, I could try my best to control it. But I will say this, like, the biggest thing is music. Like, talking on the phone is bad. So I try my best to not talk on the phone. I try my best to just jam out to some music. And that kind of, like, reduces them a little bit. Or, like, jam out to some music to where I'm not thinking about them. Where I'm not thinking about my tics. Or, like, the urge isn't wanting to come on because I'm focused in on the music I'm listening to. And, a funny thing is, like, if I'm singing, while listening to music in my car completely goes away. So it's like, maybe I should become a singer. Then my Tourette's wouldn't act up. Like maybe becoming a singer, a musician, I can just fully stop my tics. But at the end of the day, a normal person driving can be a struggle in the fact of, man, I gotta hurry up and get to where I'm going, or man, I'm freaking out. I need to get from point A to point B. But I often think, like, imagine getting from point A to point B in a timely manner where you can't stop moving, you can't stop twitching. Like, it's not fun. It's not easy. It's not something I wish upon anybody. I mean, shit, I don't wish Tourette's upon anybody to begin with. But unfortunately, I'm one of the quote unquote lucky ones that got Tourette's in their adult life. A lot of the times you hear about, like, doctors saying, oh, when, you get older, the Tourette's minimize or go away. Yeah, the Tourette's minimized and went away for a little bit, but they came back even stronger. And, within the last couple of years is when the driving tics really flared up. I mean, all my teen years and my early adult years never really affected my driving. But ever since it's affected my driving, it's a real bummer. It's like, I would like to just sit still behind the wheel of a car and not be fidgeting around, not be coughing so hard till I get lightheaded, or coughing so hard till I throw up, or other things I do. I really wish it wouldn't be like that. But unfortunately, for as long as I have Tourette's and as long as this triggers my tic, I'm going to be there. I'm going to have it. So anybody out there that's listening that has Tourette's and has that driving trigger, I can only hope, pray, wish, whatever, that yours goes away. Because at the end of the day, who wants to twitch while driving? It's never fun. So, just want to get on here and say, driving with Tourette's is a struggle more than just a regular day life struggle of driving. But as long as, like always, as long as you can see the positive in life with your Tourette's, life can never be too bad. So, till next time.